Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked. So I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the Montblanc, and this is the Petit Prince, and this is the Aviator Solitaire Duet. We have the Montblanc, and this is another writer's edition, and this is the Robert Louis Stevenson. We have a Anoto, and this is the Charles Dickens Christmas Carol 2023 edition, and this is in the silver gilding and silver trim. We have a Conway Stuart, and this is the Coronation pen in sterling silver. We have a classic Pens CP5 made by Parker in the duofold, and this is called the Vintage. We have another classic pen CP5 made by Parker in the duofold, and this is called the Modern. We have a Cross Peerless 125. We have a Montegrappa Extra, and this is the 1930 in the striped zebra. We have a Montegrappa, and this is the Extra Otto in the pearl grey celluloid, and then we have a Montegrappa, and this is the Extra Hightech. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail. So this is the very beautiful Le Petit Prince Aviator, and you can see there it does have a plain on what is essentially a leather wrapped cap. This is a really beautiful pen. Really glad that I was able to add this to my collection, and I'm really glad that prior to this I had only, and still have them, only had two other Montblancs, a 146 in a double broad, and I really didn't like how that nib wrote. It had a lot of baby's bottom to the nib when it wrote, so it skipped and hard started. And then I had a 149 extra fine, and that wrote very, very beautifully. So I wasn't expecting much from getting a few more Montblancs, but this really I am pleased with because it does write very nicely. So this is in the Aviator theme from Le Petit Prince. You can see the Montblanc star or snowflake, as many call it. And then the whole theme of this pen is the leather here for the Aviator sort of goggles and I want to say mask, but probably the hat that would have been worn in that kind of era, and also a lovely platinum engraved body here with the sands of the dunes. A beautiful pen. I really do like this. And it does come with a number 6 size nib. It's not the 149 size nib. And but this it's a beautiful writing nib. It's a piston filling pen. Yeah, you can't post the cap on this. The section is a little bit on the slippery side, being sort of a chrome or a sort of chrome-like finish. But I do like how this one writes, and I do like the pen. I love every aspect of this pen. So for me, I guess Montblanc have actually redeemed itself over time, because that was my third Montblanc, and I have to say that the second one, but the first one I got was the 149, and then I got the 146, and then that sort of I didn't like as much, and then I got this one, and then the next, actually I think it was not the next Montblanc, but the Montblanc after that, I got this one, which is the Robert Louis Stevenson, and this is again a very beautiful pen. So it's done in the sort of Treasure Island sort of look. So you've got the skull and crossbones, you've got a navigation compass there as well. You have what I think is the peg leg of the pirate, and then I think this is supposed to be sort of like the lattice flooring. You've got the date there as well, and you've got lots of X's on the body, but then there is one big X marks the spot, and as you know, in pirate themes, X on the map always marks where the treasure was buried. So This really is interesting. And then you've got this writing here, which is actually back to front, and is also interesting there. So from that perspective, I do like this pen. It is a beautiful pen. It feels very well balanced. Again, a number 6 size nib, so I got this one and the Aviator in a medium nib. Again, you can't post the caps on these, and again, it's got a little bit of a chrome section there, so a little bit slippery. Now, interestingly, I didn't think these were slippery sections. A couple of friends have said to me, they are very slippery, and I'm like, I do not find them slippery. But I think it depends on the time of year and the climate and the temperature in the room when you're holding them. These have been capped for a while now, at least probably a day or so. And maybe it's just got a little bit of build-up of moisture in that cap, but just felt a little bit sort of on the slippery side. And I don't normally find that of chrome or silver section pens. The next pen inked up this week is the Anoto, and this is the Charles Dickens. This is the Christmas Carol, and you may recall, if you've watched my reviews or my previous Currently Inked, I bought 2 of these. There were 2 for the 2023 edition Christmas, and one was in this silver gilding and silver trim, and then the other one had gold gilding and a gold trim or gold clip. And this is a silver one. I do like this a lot. I do love this lovely tortoiseshell here as well. It's got a silver clip here. And if I unscrew the cap there, you'll see it's a number 7 size. Anoto have number 7 size nibs. So this is a number 7 size 18 karat gold medium nib. You can post the cap on these ones if you want to. They are, I'd say you don't need to, but I know some people do prefer to post their caps. But for me, I just don't find the need. This is a lot lighter than these 2 Montblancs. So these are made out of metal, and this one is just resin. So there is definitely quite a weight difference between those 3 pens. The next pen I have inked up, which is a pen I picked up in December last year, is the Conway Stuart, and this is the King Charles III Coronation pen. I do love this pen, and there still are 1 or 2 other Conway Stuart pens that I think I would like to pick up, but certainly this is one of the pens I liked. I love this beautiful guilloche pattern there on that. It's really, really good. And if I unscrew the cap, you'll see it doesn't have a silver section, but it has a resin section and a number 6 size Yovo nib there, engraved with Conway Stuart. It's a cartridge converter, same as the Anoto. It's not a piston. You can post that cap there, but it is very back weighted, I would say. I do find though that I'm still not a fan of these sections. I prefer concave sections, not sections that are rounded or flat. So I kind of wish that was more concave. But I also know that Conway Stuart don't do the concave sections, at least as far as I'm aware of. So I knew that going into it, and I had this pen for review, and then I decided to buy that pen purely because it was sterling silver, purely because it was a good price, and it's a Conway Stuart, and I like the size in my hand. Now, the next 2 pens here inked up are the classic Pens CP5. Now, these were made in collaboration with Parker, and Parker made them in the duofold shape and size and model for Andy Lambrou of Classic Pens. And I picked these up at the London Pen Show in March this year. These are sterling silver pens. This is the vintage version of the 2. The other one is the modern, but you can just see here, this guilloche pattern is absolutely amazing. And as I understand it, Parker did bring their, well, actually, it was Morelli brought their machine out of cold storage, effectively, to engrave this pen. So I'm very glad that I was able to pick this one up. And you can see there's a slight sort of taper down and then fluting out of that section. I'd say this is probably the second best section. The first is probably a concave section that I prefer. It has a Parker number 6 size duofold nib there. It is a cartridge converter. You can post the cap, but this is hugely back weighted. Being sterling silver, that cap weighs about the weight of the body. So it's not something you're going to want to do on this pen. Unless you have humongous hands and the center of gravity of the pen is off so much that it's not going to feel back weighted. But I think with most people, it is going to feel back weighted. The next pen is the classic Pens CP5, and this is the modern version, again made by Parker in the duofold for Andy Lambrou at Classic Pens. But this has a very different gear shape pattern on it there that you can see. I almost want to say it's like a brick-like pattern, but then when you look at it in a little bit more detail, it's more of a diamond pattern. Just reminds me of a brick wall. Strange, but it does. But this again is a very solid sterling silver pen. Again, resin section, like the Conway Stuart, but the metal in this, I would say, is a lot more in terms of thickness. You've got a number 6 size Parker duofold nib there. It is a cartridge converter. I can post the cap if I want to, but again, it's very back weighted. It's not something I'm going to want to do. I think in hindsight, and I hadn't really, I think I hadn't really comprehended this, but I knew, or I was sure, that the Parker duofolds, I know, are always slightly shorter than maybe length pens that I prefer. So I thought that they were going to be a bit shorter, and they are. But I didn't think they were going to be that much shorter than the Conway Stuart King Charles III Coronation pen. It's actually quite a difference there in terms of not only shortness, but in terms of girth between those pens. Which one of these would I prefer is going to be the question. I know that's something that probably most of you are going to ask, and I have to say I like the yellow gold on the clip on the Conway Stuart. I like the size, and I like the very bright silver there compared to maybe these two that are a little bit more vintagey looking, and certainly the vintage version is more of a yellowish silver that's used there. But in terms of weight, I really prefer the classic Pens CP5. They really do feel substantial in my hand, very weighty, very, dare I say, heavy. They're not the heaviest pen that I have, but they're certainly not the lightest pen. They are still quite weighty. The next pen I have inked up is the Cross Peerless 125, and I will shoot a friend of mine, Tony, who convinced me to buy this one, and then somehow I managed to buy another 2 more in the I want to say, I think one was, I can't remember I want to say electric blue. It's not electric blue. It was a blue version of the Cross Peerless 125, and then I had a titanium version as well, and this is, I think, the platinum version. It comes with a jewel in the cap. The reason why I actually buckled and bought this one was it has a sailor nib. It's not a King of Pen nib, but it is a sailor nib. So I decided, because I like sailor nibs, I decided to get it. You can post the cap there. It is a cartridge converter, like all of these 4 here. This one is a cartridge converter as well, but it does have a sailor made nib for Cross, and that was really what made me buy this one, and it made me buy a couple more on eBay auctions, although I a little bit sillily got sort of caught up in the auctions, didn't look at the nib sizes and found out one was a fine and one was an extra fine. I'm normally a medium or a broad nib person, so that kind of disappointed me a little bit, and I'm still on the lookout for replacement nibs. If I do see one at some point, I probably will buy it. I have seen a few more cross Peerless 125s for about the same price that I paid for this one and the other two. And I could buy that and swap the nibs around, but then these were, I think, selling for about £250. So I'd be buying at least another one or two of those, and then what am I going to do with those two pens? I could sell them, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. If I could get a nib for maybe 100 or 125, then I'd rather just buy the nib and swap the nibs out. The next pen inked up is the Montegrappa, and this is the Extra 1930, and this is the striped zebra celluloid. This is a beautiful pen. I really, really love that striped celluloid and how it sparkles there. Absolutely stunning. It comes with, like a lot of the Montegrappa extras, comes with a sterling silver section and a number 8 size nib there. And this is a medium nib. You can post the caps, but you'll see here it posts onto the back of that piston. So you've got to be careful when you take it out off that you're not going to twist that, because if you do, then you're going to find that you're going to start probably ejecting ink. I do love this pen though. It is a nice pen. I'm glad I was able to pick that up when I did. I think I picked that up from Royal Izod's. I'm pretty sure I did. I'm just thinking again. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. And then also the Extra Otto as well I picked up, I think from Roy Izod's. And this is in the pearl grey celluloid. Now, I do like these Extra Otto cap bands. I would honestly like more Extra Ottos in my collection. They typically sell for a lot more than the 1930s. And I'm not really sure why, other than it's a faceted pen. And maybe, I want to say maybe it's got more silver on it, but I don't think it has. It's like you've got silver cap band here and you've got silver cap band here. Maybe it's engraved a little bit more, but outside of that, I don't think there's a huge amount of difference. So I don't understand what the reasoning is behind the price on this. And again, it comes with a sterling silver section. Again, it's a piston. And again, it's a number 8 size nib. You can post these caps and they post a lot more deeply and securely. And it goes way over the piston knob there. So for me, this is actually quite a nice pen. I love that pearl grey celluloid. I don't think there are that many more Montegrappas, newer ones out there with that celluloid that are still available. I do like that celluloid. It really is a nice celluloid. And then the last pen inked up here is the Montegrappa Extra Hightech. And I bought this one again from a certain friend called Tony that convinced me that this was his best writing pen. And although I wouldn't say it's my best writing pen, it's actually got a nice nib, I have to admit. And I like the tactile feel. I like that it's a titanium there and you've got carbon fiber. It really is an interesting combination of materials, and again a titanium section there and a number 8 size nib. This is a cartridge converter, not a piston. You can just about post that cap, but yeah, I can show you there. That is the converter. So it's not a piston filling pen, but equally though, I have to say it's got a lot of tactile feel. So if you're a person that really wants to be able to fill their pens, then this is certainly a pen that you might want to look at. So there you have it. That's my currently ink pens for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up this week is the Montblanc Le Petit Prince. So I think let's do an ink swatch here. And this is quite a nice writing nib. So this is the Montblanc Le Petit Prince, and it's the Aviator, and it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib, and the ink in here is and I just need to double check that, and this is called KWZ, and it is cappuccino. There's two C's there. Brown, which is a nice coloured ink. The next pen inked up is the Montblanc, and this is the Robert Louis Stevenson. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And again, I really do like how this nib writes. It is quite a nice writing nib. And this is, I'm just going to have a look at the ink. Yes. So this is the Montblanc Robert Louis Stevenson, and it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib, and the ink in here is diamine graphite, which is a grey ink that is almost lending itself to black, but a very nice coloured ink. The next pen inked up is the Anoto, and this is the Charles Dickens Christmas Carol 2023. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now this is a grey ink, but it's a much lighter grey, but still a grey that I'm actually starting to like a lot more. So this is the Anoto Charles Dickens and it's a Christmas Carol 2023, and it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib, and the ink in here is KWZ Old Smoke, which is quite a nice grey coloured ink. The next pen inked up is the Conway Stuart King Charles III Coronation in sterling silver. So I think let's do an ink swatch. And I don't know if you can hear that, but it does have a little bit of a singing tendency to this nib on Oxford Optic. It doesn't on Tomoe River. And typically if I do find a nib sing slightly on Oxford Optic, it doesn't normally on Tomoe River, and Tomoe River is normally the paper of choice that I use, but I use Oxford Optic paper in these writing sessions. So this is the Conway Stuart, and it's the Coronation for King Charles III, and it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. It's a Yovo nib, not a Bock nib. And then the ink in here is, again, diamine graphite, which you can see that there is quite a bit of difference between these two nibs on how dark that ink is looking. But you can see it's roughly in the same ballpark. The next pen inked up is the classic Pens CP5. And as I mentioned, this was a pen made by Parker in the Parker Duofold for Andy Lambrou at Classic Pens. We'll do an ink swatch here. Now, Parker nibs typically are quite firm nibs, and I'm just gonna prime that section a little bit of the ink because it's just running a little bit dry, and I do find that on this nib a little bit. So this is a classic Pens CP5, and this is in the vintage. It's a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib there. And then the ink in here is KWZ Old Smoke. And again, like, you can see the difference between this one and this one. It really, I want to say on dry nib pens, an ink is gonna typically wipe darker than it will on a more wetter, flowing pen. The next pen inked up is the classic Pens CP5, and this is in the modern. And again, made by Parker in the duo fold for Andy Lambrou of Classic Pens. And this one I find writes a little bit wetter. And it may also be a little bit more of a difference with the darkness of the ink there. But this is a Classic Pens CP5 in the modern. And it's a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. And the ink in here again is Diamond Graph. I'm just doubting myself. Yeah, I think it is Diamond Graphite. I was going to say Diamond Earl Grey, but then I thought I think that's a little bit too dark for Diamond Earl Grey. The next pen inked up here is the Cross Peerless 125. So I think we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a medium nib, but being a sailor nib, it's an Asian nib, it's really more of a Western fine. So this is the Cross Peerless 125, and I'll list it as a medium, but it's really more of a Western fine. And then it's an 18 cat gold nib made by Sailor. And then the ink in here is Montblanc Toffee Brown. But that it is a nice ink. It's a nice writing nib. It's a little bit, I would say, on pencil-like feedback, because that's typically what Sailor nibs are like. The next pen inked up is the Montegrappa Extra 1930, and this is the striped zebra. There is a vertical zebra, and I do actually have the vertical zebra as well, but this is the striped zebra. So I think let's do an ink swatch here. And I do find that this has a nice writing nib there. So this is the Montegrappa, and it is the Extra 1930 striped zebra. And it's a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here today is Montblanc Lavender Purple. But this is quite a nice writing pen. The next pen inked up is the Montegrappa Extra Otto in the pearl grey celluloid. So I think let's do an ink swatch here. And I was going to put Old Smoke in here, but I actually realised that this was a little bit more of a dry writing nib. So maybe this ink would be better. So this is Montegrappa Extra Otto in the pearl grey celluloid. Celluloid, and it's a medium and it's an 18 cat gold nib, and the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey, which is a nice grey, and I think it probably matches this pen quite nicely. And then the last pen inked up is the Montegrappa Extra Hightech. So let's do an ink swatch here. And I'm probably going to have to prime this converter because I know that it really is running dry. Or it really is running dry. So let's try again. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So this is not a super wet writing nib, but it's also not really what I'd call dry writing nib. So this is the Montegrappa Extra, and it's the Hightech. It's a medium nib, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is KWZ Cappuccino. And for some reason, I always have problems spelling cappuccino. And what I should remember is 2 P's, 2 C's. And then I probably would be okay. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have a Montblanc Petit Pron Aviator in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with KWZ Cappuccino. We have a Montblanc Robert Louis Stevenson in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamond Graphite. We have an Anoto Charles Dickens Christmas Cow 2023 in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with KWZ Old Smoke. We have a Conway Stuart, and this is the King Charles III Coronation in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamond Graphite. We have a classic Pens CP5 in a vintage medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with KWZ Old Smoke. We have a classic Pens CP5 in the modern in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamond Graphite. We have a Cross Peerless 125 in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Montblanc Toffee Brown. We have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Striped Zebra in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Montblanc Lavender Purple. We have a Montegrappa Extra Otto in the Pearl Grey Celluloid in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. And we have a Montegrappa Extra Hightech in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with KWZ Cappuccino. So there you have it. That's my currently ink pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye-bye.